From the studios in beautiful Oceanport, New Jersey, welcome to the biggest and greatest podcast ever. I'm your host, Ray K. Hey, everybody. This is an exciting thing for me because I've never knew an actor before. And Rich Grosso, is that correct, Rich? I meant to ask you before. Okay, Rich Grosso, I went to high school with this guy. He didn't remember me, but I remembered him. And he was nice enough to friend me on Facebook. And then I just read his story, and it's just so fascinating. And he was kind enough to come on the show. Rich, why don't you just get right into it on your first acting, I guess you said in the English class. Let's just walk through it right from there all the way up to now. Tell us how you got into the acting business or the acting world as a kid.
Well, I would say the love for it, because the business is two separate things. Basically, my story is I have two sisters that are 14 and 15 years my senior. One of them was going for a master's degree at William Patterson College, and one of the things she had to do was go see several plays. Mm-hmm. So I was her companion at 10 years old, or between 8 and 10 years old, while she was going for her master's. She turned me on to the Broadway stage, and I was this kid that didn't have a clue. So I fell in love with the theater, and then I was still living in Patterson at the time, which is where I was born.
Now, how old were you, Rich, at this point?
Between 8 and 10 years old.
Okay.
All right. And then, so I found this love for the theater. Then I moved to Jackson, where we went to school together, and I was about 11, and I kind of bottled that up and didn't, because it was kind of an environment in an area where you didn't want to scream from the rafters that you were into musical theater. It was a different time, if you will. And
it was almost like the nerves went into that, when you're in school. I sort of feel like the band and
if you did that kind of thing, So I kind of kept it quiet. And so nobody really knew I could sing or had any love for the theater or anything like that. So fast forward my senior year in high school. By then I had enough street cred, if you will.
Okay.
And my English teacher, who was head of the drama department, Lisa DeGeorge, was casting what would have been my senior play. And it was the first play I ever saw. And I love this play, and I go, oh my gosh, I have to do this play. I know every word. I bought the cast album, and I played it until it was worn out, and there was nothing I didn't know about this show. I have to get into this play. So I told my friends to kind of save face. I go, hey, I'm going to go out for Lisa DeGeorge's play. And they all made fun of me because they didn't know I could do that. And I went in, and I got cast, and I stood out. I was one of the standouts in the show, and all of a sudden, people were paying attention to me that never really paid attention to me before. I go, wow, I should have did this a long time ago. So anyway, fast forward, I went out. I never really did anything with that. I did a couple of shows after that with Red Oak Music Theater in Lakewood, New Jersey.
Now, Rich, did it feel natural, like when you were on stage, like you were at home? Was it just like a total natural type ability you had, and it just felt great right from the get-go?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was something I should have been doing my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I fast forward, I did a couple of local community theater shows after high school, and then I put it away. I just put it away and went out into the world and made a living. And I worked in Atlantic City for a while. I was a casino dealer. And then I worked in Freeport, Bahamas. I was a casino dealer. I was on this little adventure. It was in my early 20s. I was having the time of my life.
Any tricks to that, or the odds are so much? There's no inside information on that? Okay.
You know the old joke, right? How do you make a small fortune? You start out with a large one.
Okay, so you just stay away from the casinos. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, unless you're doing it for fun, and always, bet what you have to lose.
Right.
And that's it. Yeah, that would be my advice on that. But anyway.
Okay. So you did that.
Forward, I'm back in Jersey. Mm-hmm. I'm living back in North Jersey.
Now, how old are you now at this point, Rich? How old are you?
Now I'm 24.
Okay, 24. Pretty young. You're still feeling your oats.
I'm chefing, and I'm working for my cousin's delicatessen in Wyckoff, New Jersey. And I was working days, and I wanted a little creative outlet. So I went into New York at night and I was taking some acting classes at a place called HB Studios, Herbert Burkloff Studios, still there. And I was studying acting, and I was about 24 years old, and I made friends with this kid, and I said, look, if I really wanted to try this professionally, how would I go about it? Because, Ray, I was completely green. I didn't have a clue. Mm-hmm. And I was so naive. He said, well, first you have to get a headshot. And I said, what's that? I had no idea what he was talking about.
Okay, so you were 100% naive then to ask that question. Okay.
Yeah. And then he said, you have to get backstage. And I said, well, how do I get back there? He goes, no. It's a newspaper that comes out. It's a publication, and it has all the castings and things like that. So I go, okay. So I get backstage. I get the headshots. We fake a resume with some of my I put the senior play on there. I put a couple of the theater plays on there that I did over in Lakewood, and there was my resume. And I showed up at an open call for a new original play that was being cast off Broadway in New York. And I got a part. I literally, one audition, I got an off-Broadway show that ran for 2 years in New York City called Slasher, the Splatter Rock Musical.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that play ran 2 years, and the play closed. And
now, were you making a living at this, or did you just kind of make a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I was also cooking and working in the cafeteria at the NYU Business School downtown during the day, and I was doing the show at night.
So it's the classic. It's the classic, like Dustin Hoffman working, or like a waiter during the day, and then you do that at night to gain your experience. Is that basically what you're doing? Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the play closed in 1988. I wound up picking up sticks, and I moved to Los Angeles, where I wanted to pursue a career in film and television. And I did that for a better part of 10 years and made some. I got some work. I got in the union.
Yeah, that's pretty gutsy, Rich. Though I mean, just to go out there. So you must have had a lot of confidence in your ability to say, "Hey, I got that gig, so I'm going out."
Or stupidity, however you want to put it. But ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Okay.
And so I was doing the acting thing, and also at that point I also started with stand-up comedy, and I was doing stand-up. So I did stand-up comedy, and I was an aspiring actor all through the 90s.
Now, were you making a living at this now, Rich? I guess you were. Okay.
Never made a living at it, ever. My best year was $8,000.
All through the 90s?
All through the 90s.
So all that, you're getting roles, you're writing stuff, you're producing, and you're making $8,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's a tough business to crack, obviously.
Yeah. Or I sucked at it, one or the other. I don't know. Yeah, but
well, you couldn't have been too bad if you had 10 years in it. But did you have another job then? I mean, you can't live on $8,000 a year.
Of course, I was waiting tables.
Okay.
Most of the time, I was waiting tables. I was doing catering. I did a lot of stuff. I was delivering newspapers. I was. I had a route. I had 300 bubblegum machines all over Los Angeles, and I would service them, empty the quarters, and yeah. So by then, by the way, I was married and had a baby too at home. So it was a big struggle. So 1999, I just couldn't do it anymore, and I had made some leeway. I started getting some momentum. I did an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. I was in the 1998 blockbuster movie Godzilla. I was actually on a roll. I was opening for some major headliners, but at that point, I couldn't financially swing it anymore.
How are they? Everyone Loves Raymond. Any insights on Ray or
I mostly worked with. I met Ray obviously, but I mostly my one little scene where I had 2 lines was actually with Brad Garrett. So, but everybody was really nice. Everybody was really cool. I thought, when you work on these things, you're kind of king for a day. It's like you are absolutely treated like royalty. But then it's a 1-day gig, it's a 3-day gig, and then you're back to waiting tables.
Are you nervous now? You're on a major TV sitcom. I mean, is there any nervousness to it, or are you just so natural at it?
I don't really get nervous, but I was on this one because it was a big hit show. I only had 2 lines, but it was a big hit show, and Peter Boyle, the late great Peter Boyle, who you might remember from.
He's one of my he's my favorite character in that show.
Okay, so Peter comes up to me, and this is what calmed me down. I was a little nervous, but I mean, not to where I was going to blow it or anything, but you know, you keep that stuff inside because you're a pro, but you're nervous. You're there with, you know, you're there with Peter Boyle and Ray Romano and Brad Garrett and, you know, and Doris Roberts and, you know, and Patricia, you know,
Keaton,
anyway,
right? Yeah, the wife.
and,
right.
and yeah, Patricia Keaton, and and so so anyway, Peter comes up to me. I guess he sees that either he sees I'm a little nervous or makes me want to feel at home. So he goes, "How you doing, kid?" I go, "Great, sir. Thank you." I go, "A little nervous. My first sitcom." And he said, "Yeah, mine too."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it put it in perspective. You know what? It was his first sitcom. This guy had this amazing career, and it made me laugh, and it calmed me down, and it was a great episode. Which
what episode was it, Rich? I'm going to have to check it out now.
It was the episode called "Robert Moves Back."
Okay.
It was like in 1999.
And when do you come in the show?
Oh gosh, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. It was a long time.
What were your two lines? Do you remember?
Well, yeah, I was. What happened was in the scene, Brad Garrett's character Robert is going out with, I guess, the world's oldest female virgin or something like that. Mm-hmm. I guess she was called the Virgin or something, and this was the episode that they go back to Robert's place and they actually consummate their relationship.
Okay.
Actually have sex. There was this, I guess, big build-up through the season where they never had sex because she was a virgin.
Oh, was that his girlfriend at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, so he so they consummate the relationship, and he lives in a building, an elevator building. So he comes out of the scene as he comes out of the elevator, and he's in the bathrobe, and she's dressed. She's got to go to work, and he's walking her to the elevator, and they're kissing each other goodbye, and they had this beautiful night together. And then this guy walks up, and he goes, "Hey, pal, do me a favor. Next time, would you please close your curtains?"
Okay.
So it gets a little laugh, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, do you think he saw us?" Then the elevator door opens up, and there's this young couple that come out. They're carrying like a dog, and they look at both of them, and they point. And they start going, and they start laughing at them. Mm-hmm. It gets even a bigger laugh.
Okay.
The crescendo, right? So now they're laughing. I walk in. I got this little cardigan, a little sweater on, little nerd glasses.
Okay.
And I'm carrying a book, which it's a Bible. And I walk up and I go, "Hey, you really disrupted our Bible study last night."
Ah, okay. That must have got some hooting.
Which gets a thunderous laugh.
Right.
And then he says, "Sorry." And I go, "We prayed for you." And I walked upstairs. So that was the whole gag.
Okay.
I had two lines that everybody loves Raymond. But, you know, I still get checks till this day.
How much do you get? How much do you get, Rich?
What?
How much of a check do you get? Like the $1.25, or is it, you know?
Oh, you know, I mean, look, it was what? You know, how many years ago was it? It was like 10 years ago. It was, you know, maybe I might see $1,000 a year off of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay. That's not bad.
500 to 1,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they come in dribs and drabs, $38, $40.
So every time they show it, you get something.
I don't know exactly how it works. But I
you just trust the process. You trust that it's accurate, however they do it.
Yeah.
Did you nail it in one take?
Well, I mean, I did, but they
messed up.
They shoot it a bunch of different ways. It's 4 cameras, and you know, you do it over and over and over and over again. It's not like you didn't get it right.
All right, then they get the best version of it. Is that it? Like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but it didn't take long. I mean, it's not like we were there all day. Oh my God, we're not getting this. You know, it was the proportionate amount of time that scene should have taken.
Okay.
You know.
So now you're kind of rolling a little bit. It seems you're getting these things, but
now
you kind of
a little bit, but I can't feed my family, man. And
okay. Is your wife working? I imagine.
My agent.
Okay.
Who gets me literally 2 auditions that year. 2. I book both of them. Godzilla, Everybody Loves Raymond. I booked both of them, and 2 months later, they dropped me because they said they have to downsize because things are tough.
Oh, okay.
So I'm left without an agent. And I said, you know what? I was hitting it for about 10 years. I got a baby at home that, wants to eat 3 times a day. I got a house that I can't afford. And I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. And I quit. I ripped everything up and I got out of the business.
Now, did you have fun those 10 years? Was it fun or was it,
No, of course it was
stressful?
fun. It was great. It was my dream.
Okay.
It was my dream. Absolutely. But I couldn't take care of my responsibilities as a man,
So now you're moving on.
I'm moving on. I'm done with show business. And I wind up in the early 2000s, 2002, I opened up an Italian restaurant because I was always, being an out-of-work actor for so many years, I got very proficient in the food industry.
Now, you must have had some kind of backing, right? Or, I mean, it must have cost money to do it. Okay, so you had people come in and help and invest in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put together an investment package, and I opened up a little mom and pop Italian restaurant. It was like a little slice of Jersey in L.A.
Okay, L.A. And was it in like West Hollywood or Hollywood? Or?
No. It was actually in a place called the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
The Valley, like the song Valley Girl. It was in the Valley, and a place called Woodland Hills. And I named it Giovanni Ristorante. It was in memory of my late father, Giovanni.
Okay.
And it took off. It took off. I got very successful for a while, and I never looked back. Never thought I would ever do it again.
Now, is that one of those things, Rich? You hear people that own restaurants, you got to be there all the time. Is it like a 24-hour?
Be there all the time.
All the time.
It's the hardest thing in the world to do. What's the statistic? Like 10% of them make it past the year.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
A lot of people don't know the other statistic, which is out of that 10%, only 10% of those make it past the second year.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you made it way past it all.
1% of restaurants make it past 2 years.
Whoa, I didn't know that stat.
So the fact that we were around almost 15 years, I'm very proud of that. But,
yeah, definitely.
But we got to a point where, we weren't making it anymore either. Meanwhile, a divorce had happened. I was getting burnt out on it. So you
had a run. Do restaurants have that run because they're new and everybody likes it, and then at some point, it kind of phases out?
We were a staple in the neighborhood for a long time. It was just it just got tougher and tougher every year, right? And I was getting burnt out, and I wasn't a young chick anymore, and my daughter was grown. I didn't need to take care of her anymore. I found myself single again for the most part. So I didn't want to do it anymore. Okay. So a friend of mine, this is back in 2012, 2013, said, you were a pretty good actor. Have you ever thought about getting back into it? And he's a successful actor in his own right. And I said, no, not really, man. That business kind of rode me hard and put me away wet the first time. I'm kind of hesitant to get back into it. And he's a bro. So we bust each other's chops all the time. So he was like, dude, you're old and fat now. You'll work.
And interesting. Okay.
And so I put out some feelers in 2013. I still knew some people in the industry, and damn it if he wasn't right. I started booking a couple of jobs here and there, not enough to really make a living. So
you had the talent, so you're going to get something. Is my initial thought. You got talent on it, so someone's going to hire you for something.
There's going around now too. There's a lot less kind of older guys that aren't already established that are willing to do bit parts.
So it's like a niche that you're into now. Now you got your own little, okay.
So I'm doing, so anyways, I'm doing these little bit parts between 2013 and 2015, and I still have the restaurant. And all of a sudden, I decide I'm out. I'm selling the restaurant. I'll go back to being a waiter again. I'll do what I need to do. I don't care. So I sell the restaurant. The day I sell the restaurant, I booked this big national commercial, which afforded me more money than I ever made in my life as an actor.
Mind if I ask how much it was?
100,000
or
it was over a 3-year period, it was well over six figures it was 6 figures over a 3-year period for one day's work.
Oh, okay. That's a hit.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's a hit. Yeah, it's a signal. Yeah.
Okay.
And but then there was another one right behind it. So I booked another one.
Okay.
And then I booked a couple of TV shows. And then I found I really didn't, even though I was waiting tables at that time at this new restaurant that opened up down the street from my house, I really didn't need to. I was making my living as an actor.
So it's the first time then in your life you're kind of coming right into the black now, and now you're kind of getting a little,
Yeah, I made more money than I ever made in 1 year as an actor. And, that year I worked part-time as a waiter and picked up $15K that I didn't even need, but it was my security blanket.
Okay.
It was my security blanket.
Right.
And and then I caught shortly after that, I left the restaurant and I caught a really, really big break. I got cast in one of my first leads in a movie. Well, since I've been back anyway. It was like a $2 million independent feature. It's called The Assassin's Code. It stars a couple of actors by the name of Peter Stormare, Justin Chatwin. Peter's been on everything. Peter's been on he was on The Big Lebowski. He was in Fargo. You name it. This guy, Minority Report, John Wick 2. Man has an amazing career. So I'm starring opposite him in a movie. And Justin Chatwin is a big name too. He was on the first 2 seasons of Shameless. He was Tom Cruise's son in War of the Worlds. Did a show called American Gothic. So these are name guys.
Right.
So I find myself a lead in a movie with these guys. This was a couple of years ago. So the movie came out last year.
Was a full release, theatrical release?
The full release got picked up by Gravitas. It was in theaters. It was a small release, not a big release, but small release. 15 cities. It was in Jersey for a while. It was there, called The Assassin's Code, and now it's streaming on Amazon Prime. So,
what was it? What's it about? The movie?
It's a psychological thriller. It's this young cop played by Justin Chatwin gets it over his head with this crime syndicate that he's trying to take down. And I play kind of a bad guy. I play Peter Stormare's kind of sidekick. I play a character named Carmen Puccinaldi. He's kind of a gangster with a heart, kind of. Has a great arc. It's a real guy. It's a real character. It's based on a real guy that's currently in the witness protection program right now.
Okay.
It's based on true events.
Have you spoken to the guy when you were preparing, or
no, not at all.
Because he's in the witness protection program. Okay, so right. Okay.
No, witness protection. Never met the guy.
Okay.
But anyway, I was told I fared well. And I think it kind of. I saw the movie, and not to blow my own horn, but I looked and I didn't look like I didn't belong there with all those named people that have made their living for years as actors. And
so you were happy. You were happy with your performance, the way the movie came out. And
happy with my performance, but I was more happy with the notion that in my heart of hearts, I realized that you could do this. You could chase this dream. You could make this happen. It's easier now too. Obviously, I have nobody to worry about but me. My daughter's grown. I got a couple of ex-wives under my belt.
Okay. Right.
I have nobody to worry about but me.
So you could hang with this. You could hang with the big actors because you proved it right in this movie. So now the confidence level must go to the roof.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't want to sound egotistical. I was humbled and blessed to get this because there's a million guys out there that probably could have played this part. But
are you your biggest critic, Rich? Are you your biggest critic yourself? Do you criticize yourself when you see yourself I wish I did that? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I am my biggest critic. People are like, "Oh my God, that's great," and sometimes I'm like, "I don't see it. Really? Is it that good? Really? I don't see it." Yeah, And so anyway, so I'm getting a second chance again, I guess, Ray. It's like
Did you have points on the movie, Rich, or did you just get a
again.
nice salary, or did you get like 4 points, and then I know that's usually the big hit. I know Jackie Gleason got 50,000 on Smoking the Bandit. He wishes he got the 10 points they would have offered him. So I know that's a play to make, right?
Look, the Assassin's Code didn't get me rich, but
okay.
I mean, nothing got me rich. I still have a little side hustle here in LA where I have a little side business, that I pick up money to pay my rent and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm in the game again, and I feel like I can do this, and the universe is telling me I can. Even this year I started off great. I just booked a big national commercial for which it hasn't started running yet, but commercials are like horses. You got to see if they run, but it's looking promising that that could make half my year, that one commercial.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I just booked another. I did an episode of AP Bio TV show that's on NBC. I did that. That just aired last week with Patton Oswalt, and
after the Assassin's Code, Rich, which I'm trying to think. So that was 13, 14. Did things just go crazy from 14 to now, or is it like that just the past year?
Assassin's Code was 17.
That was 17. Okay, so from 17 to now,
and it came out last year.
Okay.
No, things didn't go crazy, man. I just feel like I'm in the game. I'm a character actor that's getting auditions, that's getting more opportunities at the plate, to get a hit. The more at bats you get, the better chance you have. And, I'm confident with my work as an actor. I'm returning back to my roots too, where, I had a wild hair, because I remember I said I started in musical theater. Well, 2 years ago, I had a wild hair to do another musical. So 2 years ago, I auditioned for a play and was fortunate enough to get cast. I did a production of My Fair Lady where I played Alfred P. Doolittle, the father, and I actually won a little award for it. And then the following year after that, I got back. I did another play with the same director. I played Betty Southstreet in a production of Guys and Dolls. So, and then I got back into stand-up comedy. I've been doing stand-up now for about 2 years. And I was pretty funny in the 90s, but I feel like I'm so much funnier and more relaxed now. And I don't have more to talk about. I think, obviously with 20 years behind, you have a little bit more wisdom about the ways of the world. And, I definitely had a lot more pain occur in my life over the last, 20 years. So I have more to draw on for that comedic material, the 2 divorces, the grown kid, the restaurant, just my life in general, trying to stay 50 and relevant, with the millennials. It's just been an awesome ride.
And your persona seems to be a little different on the comedy side. I mean, you're a little rough edger, I guess, unless that's really how you are compared to the movies. My comedy is completely based in my truth. I mean, obviously you need to fix a joke to make it, to make it funny, but all my ideas, everything is just that's
all,
you.
It's all based in my reality. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you always have to be you on some level. I mean, I think, even as an actor, I mean, if you're, you have to find somewhere, I guess, that truth of how somehow you could relate to this character. You have to find his justification, like an asshole doesn't think he's an asshole.
Okay.
Right.
So
he's completely justified in his actions.
Right.
You don't play asshole. You play truth, which precedes asshole. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And
you mentioned life experience is the best teacher on your website. Can you explain that? Life experience is the best teacher, acting teacher.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's I think it's self-explanatory. But what I was referring to, if you were reading my bio on my website, was I mean, I studied with all these wonderful teachers, and I got something from everybody. But, you know, I had this restaurant for 15 years where it was life and death to put food on my table, right? It was like, if I go under, what do? I got this baby at home. I got a wife. I got a house. I got, you know, so I basically had to learn how to be everything to everybody.
Right.
You know, and I think that was the best acting teacher in the world was actually that restaurant, because, you know, I had to cater, you know, to Republicans and Democrats and moderates and racists and Christians and Muslims and Jews, and I had to be everything to everybody.
Right.
You know, and I got really good at that. I got really good at entertaining company for a living, and all walks of life, all different types of people, to make them feel at home in my little corner of the world, which was my restaurant. I feel really prepared me as an actor, as an artist, as a performer, as a comedian, as everything, you know. And I'm not saying I'm out here to like just please the world, you know, but I got to be a variation of myself that I guess made each one of those different types of people feel comfortable in my space.
Is there some truth, Rich, to the Shakespeare, you know, the world's a stage? I mean, I always thought, and now I'm talking to you, is it true that we're all acting? Even, you know, if you're talking to someone, you're acting in some way or shape or form. Is that?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's like, well, here's the thing, right? It's like years ago, you know, men would say go to battle, right? They'd wear armor, and they'd wear, you know, and they'd go at their swords, and they'd, you know, like the days of Braveheart, where, you know, they'd go out and fight, you know, for their lives, right? And it's like, you know, I think we're all, men and women, you know, obviously are doing that today, except, you know, the arena's changed, and, you know, we all have, you know, cell phones, and you know, we have different different weapons. But I guess what I'm saying is we all go out into that world with that layer of armor, right? We don't really necessarily drop our mask and take our out in the real world, right? We reserve that for a very select few people in our life, I would think.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
I hear you. Okay.
And acting as an artist, you have to, I guess, trust these people that you're working with to really drop that mask and show them, you know, who you are.
Is it tough to be that vulnerable and uninhibited, I guess? Because I would think if I was acting on stage, I don't know if I could do it. I feel a little funny, or, you know, because you're exposing so much, I would think.
Well, you're in the majority. I mean, you're not in the minority, right? You know, it's like, what they say, other than, you know, I mean, over spiders and snakes and rats, like, public speaking is the number one fear of most people. Public speaking, right? You know, so you know, I'm the weird one that, you know, somehow, I guess, you know, has some kind of aptitude for that, you know, and
right. Who was your biggest influence acting wise? You have like one actor that you try to emulate, or anyone that helped you, that particular get to where you are?
I'm just so impressed with so many. No, I take from everybody. There's not one. You know, there's not one.
Like even Robert De Niro. Is it true that for him to get into these roles, he's copying from someone to act like this? There must have been a person that was acting like this that he's trying to mimic. Is that, you know, in my own logical common sense?
I don't think he mimics. I don't know. It's just how far you want to dive into.
Or is it all you? Is it all you? You know, just for a minute.
No, it's never all you. It's all. I can't speak for Robert De Niro, but, you know,
anybody.
For me, I take from everybody. Okay. You know, I learn as much as I can, but eventually, for me, like, all right, here's the thing. Let me back up a little bit. There was a scene in Good Will Hunting where Matt Damon was explaining to Minnie Driver that he goes, you know how, Beethoven looked at a piano and it just made sense to him. He could just play it. I don't know if you remember the scene in the film, but he's explained to her. He goes, well, when it comes to the math, I could always just play. It always just made sense to me. And I think for me, and I can't speak for other actors or other artists out there, but for me, when I read material, I hear, whether I'm right or wrong, I hear something in my voice. I hear a voice while I'm reading, and I emulate that voice, and it comes out of my mouth, and that's what's called my choice. That's the choice I make. Those words talk to me, and this is how I think this guy sounds. And I'm not always right. And that's what a director's for. That's why it's a team sport. That's why you can get guidance. That's why somebody can maybe bring light to something that is, that maybe you didn't see. Now all of a sudden, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see that. But now that I see that, the voice sounds like this now. And then you do it again. I hope I'm making sense. I'm not
yeah. So you have like a gift then to kind of get this voice as you're reading it, and you get help maybe from the directors you're going through. So maybe you hit on a button right away, but you have this natural, I guess I'll call it a gift, that enables you to roll into this character just by reading something. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times, at my level too, I'm almost like I'm getting roles that are, I guess, could be very stereotypical to my physical being. So, you try to bring something more than that if you can. I mean, sometimes it's a business too, man. Sometimes you got two lines. You're like, please pass the spaghetti, and there's only so many ways you're going to do it. You're not going to get to,
I could even say that.
You're not going to, get too hardcore in it. You're going to take the $1,000 you made for the day and run and laugh all the way to the bank. And thank God that, he shined on you that day, that you got the gig, because anybody could have said, please pass the spaghetti, but then you get to do something once in a while. Like I'm doing a show right now. Doing a play right now that opens in June at the Hollywood Fringe, which is it's almost like a festival of art, of theater, of one-person shows. And I'm doing this play. It's not an original play. It's a one-act called Goldfish by a guy named John Colvenbach, and that's at this June. And I got cast as this like dad, and it's like so deep and rich, and this character's so beautiful, and I just can't wait to like sink my teeth into this. Like we start rehearsal next week, and so some things you do for the love, some things you do for the money. Once in a while, both trains meet. You know what I mean? And you're doing something you absolutely love, and you are getting paid for it.
Which is the ultimate thing. You always hear you do the thing you love.
Yeah, I would say that it was like that for the Assassin's Code for me.
Is it hard to cry? Is it hard to cry like in a role, or you got to think of something sad? I always the crying. When I see someone cry, like really cry, it's like wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. I guess everybody has their process. I pull out my nose hairs. No, I'm kidding.
Whatever works.
I just think if you're really connected and you're really true to that moment, and like I have a scene, and actually it's funny you brought that up, because I have a scene in this play that I just mentioned that I haven't been able to not read the end of this play without crying.
Wow.
Because I'm getting like so connected to this character, and also it reminds me of, so there is a little bit of transference as well, because it certainly also reminds me of my actual relationship with my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both for me in this particular instance,
right.
And I don't know if I'm going to get up on stage and get those tears. I mean, I hope I will. That's the game plan. But we'll see how it goes.
What advice, Rich, would you give to like aspiring actors that are, I'll say, starting out? Like, is there any advice or other than hard work?
Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, an aspiring actor will tell me, "Hey, how do you get an agent?" And I said, you know what? Why don't you just really, really focus on being the best actor you could be? Get in class, learn your craft, work with people, make your own content, write, do it all. Just because that stuff will come. If cream rises to the top, if you become a great actor, you will get an agent. You will get in this game. You will. And I think it was Dennis Hopper, the late great Dennis Hopper, that said, being an actor is like being in line at the DMV. If you stay in line, you're eventually going to get your turn at the window.
Ah, okay.
Okay. But then again, I didn't do that. I got out for 15 years and got back in. So I guess there's really no hard and fast rules. There's things you could do to maybe hedge your bet.
Okay.
But there's no rules, man, on who's going to make it, who's not going to make it, and then define make it. I mean, did I make it? I'm still driving Lyft on the side part time, but I've made my living as an actor for the last 5 years. I don't know. To some guy that doesn't have his SAG card yet, I've made it.
Right, right.
Probably maybe to Robert De Niro, I didn't. I don't know. I mean, all that shit's esoteric anyway, right? It's,
right.
It's how you feel about yourself and what you do on a daily basis to just be cool with who you are on this planet. I mean, it's not just all about acting either. I mean, do I make a difference every day? Am I a good person? Am I helping somebody? I mean, there's so much more to it than that, right?
Right. Right. The big horizon, the big picture, the whole thing,
Right. I mean, am I successful? I don't know. Like Sinatra said, regrets, I had a few, but, I like to think, I'm trying to be a little bit better of a person every day,
right?
Which also makes me hopefully a little bit better of an actor every day, which hopefully will give me a little bit more of a monicum of success every day. And that's with my stand-up, with my acting, with my friends, with my family. It's with all of it, man. It's the big picture.
The overall big picture, right. It's great. You got great philosophy there. You do. A little on the fun side. What's some of these actors you met, like a Scott? I saw you with Scott Baio. Like, what's he like, or any other interesting guys? I mean, he seems like a little wild guy. Like what's he really like?
He's not a wild guy. He's the most boringest guy I know.
Is that right?
I'm kidding. I love Scott.
Nice.
I love Scott. But he had such a life, like in the 80s and 90s. He's just really, really happy. And I hate to speak for the man, but I do know this. I'm not telling tales out of school. He's quite happy smoking a nice cigar, going home to his beautiful wife and daughter, and playing golf. And he doesn't care if he ever works again.
Right.
I mean, and I'm sure he says that, but I'm sure if the right project came along, we would see him again. He got himself I don't even want to say trouble, but there's people that are kind of turned off by him because his political beliefs. And I kind of got a little flack for, hey, you're friends with Scott Baio. He came out for Trump. And I say, hey, you know what? I got people in my life that I love very much, and it doesn't mean we have to agree eye to eye about everything. It's
right.
we don't always have to agree. We could still love one another, and so, Scott and I have some things that we agree about and some things that we don't. And we kind of leave those off the table. And I enjoy his friendship.
So you're actually friends with Scott.
Oh, yeah. He's always been very, very kind to me. And I don't have a bad word to say about the guy. Do I believe in everything he believes in his life? No. But can't we say that about all our friends?
Right.
So that's where I am with Scott. I met a lot of people.
Who are some others? Anybody else that's interesting?
I mean, obviously I worked with Peter Stormare, who's amazing. Justin Chatwin, who's amazing. I met Jack Nicholson. and not as an actor, but as a waiter.
Okay.
I've met Adam Sandler. I've met a lot of people in my life. I've met De Niro. I've met Pacino.
Anybody disappointing? Anybody disappointing that you met that you're like, oh shoot, I wish I didn't meet him, kind of, because I had
no,
Okay.
No. Played golf with David Arquette one day. We were at a charity tournament, and he was only supposed to stay for about 3 holes, and then he had to go. And he couldn't play golf at all. He was terrible. But we wound up sharing a cart together, and he wound up staying for all 18 and stayed for the charity dinner because he was having such a good time with me. So I take some stock in that, and then I think it was, he's a great guy. I don't know. I mean, I have no bad stories to tell about anybody. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'm not looking for that. I'm just asking questions.
And, everybody's been very nice, to me that I've met that happens to be doing this for a living, and has had, maybe better fortune than me financially as an actor. They've all been very kind to me.
What's the goal, Rich? Like what if you had to, other than being happy and enjoying life, like what would be a professional goal? Like to be starting.
The goal for me is to pretty much make 6 figures as an actor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I got anything more than that, that would be holy crap. 6 figures as an actor, not having to do my little side hustle, drive and lift, part-time. I drive lift about 20 hours a week to, pick up the slack, and there's years I don't have to do it. I have years where I don't have to do it, and then there's years I do have to do it, and what I've done is I've gotten a little smart where I do it anyway. So then that I get to put a little money aside for what I, don't have the great years or
right.
the adequate years, I should say. I've never had a great year.
Can you start next to like a Jack Nicholson and be this new guy, like, holy smokes, and like make this crazy amount of money? Or is that such a long shot, like with your
That's
type
such a
of
long
roles?
shot.
Okay.
That's such a long shot.
Okay.
That's, especially for a short old guy like me, that's a character, like I like to joke around that I look like Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito's illegitimate love child.
Okay.
It's like, yeah. So, those meaty roles aren't, highly unlikely that they're going to come around. So if I could just be relevant, man, as a comic, and I could just make my living as an actor, and not have to have a side hustle, that would be the end game for me. But on the same token, I don't mind the side hustle, because again, it all circles back to just, define success. For me, it's, just having people around me that love me and I love back, and having a great time and having fun and being of service to others when I can. And, so I'm already kind of doing it on some level.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean, we all want, it's all, I guess it's natural to always want a little more. So yeah, my little more would be to, kind of have this life, a little bit more on my terms and not have to just do things because I have to, and maybe do a few more things because I want to.
Right, got you. Right. Well, I mean, you have quite a story. I'll tell you at this point, Rich. This is pretty amazing to me. I'm going to segue into my hit and miss, which I'm going to give you a word association. Is that okay? This is the hardest part of the interview, as I say.
All right.
Are you ready for it? Or
well, I went to Jackson. I might not know some of these words.
Oh well. We'll see. Well, words or sentences,
I'm kidding.
See what comes to mind, Hey, what's wrong with Jackson? I thought that was a good education. Well, I'm only kidding. I'm joking.
It probably was. I just didn't partake. I was absent that 10 years or whatever it was.
Okay. Favorite color?
Red.
Okay. If you were on a deserted island, what 2 music, I don't know if you call them CDs or, 2 musical albums, whatever, that you would have with you?
I would have, wow. I love so much music. I would have Elvis Costello, My Aim is True.
Okay.
And I would have the Look Sharp album from Joe Jackson.
Okay. If you were in a foxhole, other than a family member, who would you have in there with you?
Mike Prendergast.
Okay. I know
Who I
Mike.
graduated high school. Remember Mikey P?
Yep. I know the Prendergasses. Yep. Favorite actor?
You're only giving me one.
Well, you could go two. You could go two if you want. You go
if you're only giving me one, I got to say, well, that's okay.
Give me one and then give me another.
You know, well, here's the thing. I got to go De Niro. Knee jerk, I got to go De Niro, right? But even though maybe he's becoming God, I don't want to say this. He's maybe becoming a bit of a cliche now, but I got to go Johnny Depp because you've never seen this man do anything twice. I mean, he is so versatile, just blows me away, you know? And maybe, you know, the Jack Sparrow thing is becoming a little cliche, but I mean, look at this man's body of work. You know, just incredible. And De Niro, of course, but there's so many other people, you know. But I guess if you put a gun to my head, I got to go De Niro for one.
Now, how about actress? I can't leave out the actress. Is there
actress? I got to go. I got to go. I got to go. I love Annette Bening. Annette Bening, I love what she does. And again, you put a gun to my head. There's so many amazing female actors out there. You know, I mean, you know, Meryl Streep, forget about it. You know, you know, there's just so many.
So she really is. You always hear Meryl Streep, and usually that comes out first with a lot of people. So she really is that great, Meryl Streep, as an actress.
I mean, look at her work. I mean, I never met the woman. I mean, I'm with you. You know, I look at her body of work, and you know, Yale Drama School. I mean, you know, she's trained. Her craft is amazing. You know, just you know.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Comedy or drama? You got to give me two on this one.
Give me one of each of those.
Okay. All right. I got to go. God, you're putting a gun to my head. Okay.
That's why this is tough.
Only because there were two Godfathers, and I don't want to pick which one was the best.
Okay.
I'm going Goodfellas.
Okay.
I'm going Goodfellas. And on the comedy side, it's kind of a toss-up between Animal House and Arthur. I'm going to go Arthur, the Dudley Moore Arthur.
Rich, you made a little mistake on that last one because I got to ask you my next question. That this is an impromptu thing here. Godfather 1 or Godfather 2?
You know, it depends on when I'm watching it. I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's what side of the bed I wake up. If you got to put a gun on my head, I got to go 1.
Okay.
But there's days I'm watching 2 and I'm like in awe. And like De Niro, like learned how to speak Sicilian for that role. Didn't know how. I mean, just like there's just so much stuff in 2. You know what I mean?
What's your favorite part?
But if you're putting a gun on my head, I got to go 1.
What would your favorite part in 1 or 2 be? I'm getting really difficult. We're almost done. We got a couple more, then we're done. So,
all right. What's my favorite? Scene in Godfather 1?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I like the when Corleone Michael kills the police captain guy and the other guy. That was
yeah, and everybody does. You know what I love? I love when you're gonna think I'm stupid. All right, you're gonna think I'm stupid.
I won't.
All right. In the yard.
At the end?
With the orange at the end.
Oh, at the end, okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or maybe even one.
Oh, that whole scene. Okay,
yeah. But maybe one could make the argument too. It's when Michael Corleone closes the door on Kate in the office.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and she sees, but it's still ajar, and she sees him sitting there as the Don for the first time, and it dawns on her.
Right.
You know.
Right.
See, I'm a minimalist. I don't. You know. Anyway, so that's did we cover one?
We did.
We're talking about 2 now.
Now you said it. Again, I got 2 more to go, and I'll let you go. But I can never figure this one scene out and and how he knew about it. But after all the family members met at the end of the movie and won, when Michael's coming back and that whole scene, and then the Godfather's in the car. Brando, and then he says he didn't know up to this moment, but he knew that it was Sollozzo the whole time. And was that just total instinct of him? I'm thinking I couldn't think of any clue on why he thought that, other than looking at it, and then you could kind of figure out that instinctively, yeah, that wasn't the guy. It was Sollozzo. How did he know that? And was there any clue to it, or is that just something that leaves up to the imagination of the viewer?
I think that's an interpretation call.
It's just a total interpretation. Okay, there's nothing that would give you this. Okay.
Well, I'm sure the director had a point of view, right? Or the writer had a point of view, right? But
nothing you could point to.
Even the actor delivers that line with his or her point of view, right? In this case, his point of view.
Okay.
Where I'm making the choice. It was my instinct. Like, I knew it all the time.
Okay.
Or, or whatever, I'm not the actor, obviously, but, and you'd have to ask them.
Okay. I mean, I think it was the right move. I kind of got it through my own instincts and looking at it. Like, yeah, I guess that was right, Okay. Oak.
Hello?
Yes.
What?
What comes to mind? I'm back to the word association. Oak. O-A-K.
Oak?
Yes.
How bad of a golfer I am, because I'm always hitting them.
Okay. Religion.
Could live without it.
Okay. And last thing, the most impressive person you've ever met.
My father.
Okay. Excellent. Is your father still alive?
No.
Okay.
He's not.
Okay.
But from where he came from and what he did and what he had to do and how he had to grow as a person, I should only wish to be that lucky.
Okay, wow, what a great tribute. Yes, great. Rich, I thank you so much. This was so much fun. I could have had you on longer, but that was great. Maybe we'll have you back again in a few months after your next gig happens. It sounds like it's going to be exciting.
I'm doing this play in June, and like I said, I'm on the season finale of a show called Speechless with Minnie Driver, and it's on ABC. I don't know when it's coming out, but whatever. And I'm just doing the audition thing, and look for that. I did a commercial for Uber Eats. I play Vincenzo, the Italian restaurant owner, which was not a big stretch for me. But
okay,
look for that stuff on the boob tube, man.
We look for it. Good. That was Rich Grosso. Rich, thank you, Rich Grosso. I'm Ray K, and we'll see you next time. This episode is sponsored by Hello Honeydew, a leading free utilities concierge service. Hello Honeydew is a free service designed to relieve the stress of a moving house, and it saves you time, money, and headaches on all your essential home service needs. We will hook up your gas, electricity, internet, TV, water, and home security systems in just one 15 to 20-minute phone call. You will also receive a free Amazon Echo Dot just for setting up an appointment. If you have closed on a house and have received your closing date, call us now for a free appointment and a free Amazon Echo Dot at 732-859-2019 and visit us at hellohoneydew.com for more information.